So hold on a second. So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you back in this live channel of Drishti IAS. In this session we will be talking about Indian Express. Since it was weekend, so we will be taking news from the weekends as well. We will cover them up first and then we will move towards the today's newspaper part. Okay. So we will be discussing few articles from your GS1 as well, history and art and culture, and then we will discuss world affairs, and these are the three important articles of the day. We will be talking about them in details. Okay, that is UNSC resolution on Gaza. Okay, so that resolution was on Friday, and which actually USA and 15 countries actually voted there. I can say 14 countries voted there. UK abstained from it. Okay, so we will talk about that. And then rules and rituals as protected sites. When we are talking about this protected site or all the monuments etc. we have, these are under Archaeological Survey of India. These protected sites, few of them are having some live monuments, or you can say there are worshipping which is allowed over there. Okay, so we will look at the rules, okay, and the rituals when it can be allowed and when it cannot. Okay, other than that there was this parliamentary panel which has suggested something in this regard. We will talk about that as well. Okay, then consensus on AI rule, artificial intelligence. You know that it was in news for a long time now, and many countries are trying to make consensus on the rules governing the generative AI tools etc. So basically now finally European Union has done that. They have made a consensus and come up with the AI rules. Okay. Okay, after that we will look at some world affairs, then we will have a look at the practice questions. Okay, so this is the page from your weekend, that is your Sunday newspaper. We will also cover from the Saturday as well. Okay, so let's start with the first article. Gazan health system collapsing, says UN Secretary General. Okay, so now Blinken slams Israel on the Gaza civilian toll as Arab states renew truce push. Okay, so basically what happened here, now USA has started criticizing Israel on the civilian front, where Israel are going for the this warlike activities in the South Gaza as well, and they are not taking any preventive care of these civilians which are on the verge of you can say violent activities which are happening over there. Okay, so now USA is also saying that you have to take care of them as well. Other than that, USA said that there is a gap between the declared aims of this war, which Israel has actually initially they have told. They have said that they want to eliminate Hamas and they will do it surgically. Surgically means that they will actually go and hit the targets where Hamas are living. But in this particular situation, we are saying that they are not differentiating between Hamas or civilians. They are just going, for blanket bombarding. Okay, so here that is why the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has criticized Israel for the first time. When other than that, this Arab countries, when we are talking about these Arab states, are going for truce, or you can say a resolution in UNSC for truce. They have drafted this resolution, and then on Friday 10:30 or something, they have placed in the table on the table of UNSC, and they have gone for the voting. We'll have a look at that as well. Okay, so here you can say Arab states have renewed their push for immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. UN Secretary Council vote on a draft resolution that demands an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in war in Gaza. Okay, so till now when we are talking about this particular war, 17,487 Palestinians have been killed. Other than that, 46,000 are injured. Okay, so that is a huge toll because of this particular incident that happened on October 7th, and after that there is this situation prevailing in the Middle East. Okay, so that is one article. Then when we are talking about this UNSC resolution, so you know that there are 15 members, 5 of them are permanent and 10 are temporary, which are to be elected every 2 years. Okay, now in this particular 15 candidates, or you can say 15 nations, if you want to pass a resolution, you have to have a vote of 9 members out of 15. Okay, other than that, you should not have any kind of veto from the permanent 5. Okay, but when this resolution came, almost 13 countries are in favor of this resolution. Okay, UK abstained from it, and USA is the country which has actually voted, or you can say vetoed the resolution. Okay, because of which ultimately this resolution could not pass. Okay, despite the criticism which is which United States is doing of Israel as of now, but the thing is they did not go for this particular passing the resolution. Okay, so here we can say that we are taking a trajectory which is not confirming your words and your actions. Okay, now let's see. US has voted a draft resolution on raising Israel-Hamas conflict in the UNSC that would have demanded an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in the war-ravaged Gaza and the immediate and unconditional release of all the hostages by the Hamas militant groups. Now, US has said that there is no mention of the attack which has happened by the, or you can say the Hamas atrocity which has been performed on October 7, because of which they have rejected or vetoed this particular resolution. Okay. Then UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has moved or you can say invoked Article 99. We have discussed Article 99 in the last lecture. Okay. So, we will not go into that, but he has invoked that exceptional Article 99 of UN Charter to appeal to the Security Council for humanitarian ceasefire. Okay. In the event when that the chief of UN thinks that there is a humanitarian issue going on, there is a crisis, there is a war-like situation which can escalate further. In that situation, he can go for the article, invoking Article 99 and make the UNSC cautious about it. Okay. So, that is about this particular resolution. In the wake of this particular invoking Article 99, UAE had drafted this particular bill or resolution and then put in front of UNSC, and which could not be passed because of the veto of USA. Okay. Other than that, you can see here, Israel has thanked USA for its veto decision. Palestinian Prime Minister and the Palestinian ambassador to UN condemned the US veto, okay, and saying it is a sad day. Obviously, they would not want that such a humanitarian truce should be there, and it would be in favor of Palestinian as of now. They have said that this is an immoral and inhuman position taken by USA. Okay. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan has for United Nations Security Council to be reformed. He has said that this particular council should be reformed because of the representation issues. Okay. Now, we know that there should be reforms in United Nations Security Council when we are talking about this particular organization. Other than that, there are some kind of structural issues as well. Okay, there should be reform. When League of Nations was founded in post First War era, at that particular time they wanted to have a collective security. Okay, but that failed, and then we went for the UN after Second World War. UN has done quite well when we are talking about making sure that Cold War stays Cold War and not convert into full-fledged Third War. Okay, so we can say that yes, UN was successful in some endeavors, but right now when we are considering the geopolitics of the scenario or of the world, there is a lack of representation in the UN Security Council. When we are talking about countries like India and Brazil, they are representing huge economies, huge population, but they do not have any say in the UN Security Council or their veto powers. Okay, so that is why there should be a need of reforms, and even Turkey is saying that there should be need of reforms, because you can see here in this particular case also 13 countries out of 15 countries, 13 countries are in favor of the resolution, but still it could not be passed. So we can see there is some kind of there is a you can say I'm sorry, I'm not getting the word. You can say there is some kind of paradox in the UNSC right now. Okay, so we have to resolve that. Okay, so that is why reforms of this particular councils are necessary. Even India is vouching for the reforms. There are various countries like Brazil, etc. They are also vouching for these reforms. Okay, when we are talking about other than developed world, when we are talking about the voice of global south, there is no voice of global south when we are talking about this particular permanent 5. Okay, so that is also one of the concern in this particular article. So now we can move forward. Here you can see these are the permanent 5 members: China, France, Russia, United Kingdom and USA. Okay, other than that, these are 10 temporary members, or you can say non-permanent member, for which election happens every 2 years. You should not look at these particular years here, because this picture can be old. So the point here is India is also a member of this non-permanent member as of now. Okay, So this is the current member list of UNSC. Okay, it has taken from the UNSC website. Okay, moving forward. UK passes additional 126 million to Rwanda over contested illegal migrants relocation. So basically, as I told you that UK is going for elections, and then because of the domestic politics over there, they are going for relocation of the migrants or illegal migrants which has been habitating in the United Kingdom. Okay, so now they are sending them to Rwanda. Okay, and they are giving some kind of money, or you can say finances to the government over there, and they have already given some $126 million. Before that, sorry, they have pledged this particular money now, and before that also they have given some amount of money in this regard. Here you can say this scheme is called as, or known as, Rwanda scheme, wherein all the illegal migrants from UK will be sent to Rwanda. Okay, now this is an African country. Here you can see in the African continent, here this particular area, small area, is Rwanda. Okay, beside Lake Victoria. Okay, since it has been in news, and there is a you can say terminology, let's say, that is Rwanda scheme. So that is why this country becomes important for your prelims examination. So what you have to do is, whenever such country or such locations are in news, let's say one is Rwanda, other is Israel. Okay, other than that, if we are talking about all the small countries, or let's say some kind of sparkly island, etc. So you have to have an idea about the location and the nearby areas as well. So when we are talking about a country, you should know that is it bounded by any water body or not, is there any geographical feature which is important. Other than that, what is most important is the neighbors of this particular country. So when we are talking about Rwanda, there are it is share boundaries with Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, you can say DRC, then Burundi and Tanzania. So these are the 4 countries which share boundaries with Rwanda. Okay. Other than that, there are some water bodies. Okay, this is Lake Victoria. It is in Uganda, but you can remember this water body because this is important. Okay, this is largest tropical lake. Okay. Other than that, you must know that there is a rift valley in Africa when we are talking about. So this Lake Victoria is not part of that rift valley, because in that rift valley there are various small and big lakes, but this Lake Victoria is a lake which is not because of that particular rift valley. It is occurring there naturally because of the depression over there. Okay, so that is about that. Other than that, there is another lake here. Okay, that is your homework to know that which lake is this, because I have put similar question in the your practice MCQ. So that is why I would not reveal the answer here. Okay, so that is your homework. So that is about how you have to approach the maps when you are talking about preparation of your exams. Whenever there is a country in news, whenever there is a particular location which is in news, you have to have an idea about the geography of that particular area and the political you can say scenario of that area, considering the neighboring countries, etc. Other than that, here you can see Rwanda is in the southern part of equator and not on the equator, because it looks very nearby. So you remember that Rwanda is not on the equator, it is in the southern part of the equator. So that is about Rwanda. Now moving further, in world's first, Europe reaches deal on AI rules. So there was nothing much or no specific details given about this particular article or these particular rules, because they are yet to be drafted, but they have agreed on a draft. Okay, they will actually eventually they will ratify it and then put in enforcement. Okay, so now you can see here European Union negotiator clinched a deal Friday on the world's first comprehensive artificial intelligence rule, paving the way for legal oversight of the technology used in the popular generative AI services like ChatGPT. So basically, these are generative AIs. Okay, generative AIs are the you can say software, any type of program which actually goes for the generating of any particular content. Okay, be it text, picture, videos, etc. So that is about generative AI. Okay, Chat GPT is one form of it. Okay, so in this particular regard, you know that when we are talking about artificial intelligence, there has been some issues regarding the regulation of this particular technology. There has been some issues in India recently as well. There was a famous case, that Rashika Mandana video that went viral. all these things are related to this particular AI system. Okay, there are deep fakes, etc., which has been in the domain as of now, and that has been we have been talking about it, how to regulate it. We could not build a consensus about it because of some issues or evolution in the technology which is so fast nowadays. Okay, so recently European Union has done that. Okay, negotiators from the European Parliament and the bloc's 27 members overcome the big differences on the controversial points, including the generative AI and the police use of the facial recognition and surveillance. They have now made consensus about it. These rules related to artificial intelligence. Okay, the EU becomes the first continent to set clear rules of use of AI. Okay, generative AI systems like OpenAI's ChatGPT have exploded into the world's consciousness, dazzling users with the ability to produce human-like text, photos, and songs, but raising fears about the risks of the rapid development in the technology, which can pose a threat to the job. Okay, even to the humanity as well. Okay, so they can pose some kind of threat to jobs, privacy, copyright protection, even to the human itself. Okay, so considering all these threats, it is important that we should regulate this particular technology, and that is why we have gone for making of such rules, and EU has done it as of now. Now US, UK, China and global coalitions like a group of 7 major democracies have jumped in with their own proposals to regulate AI, though they are still catching up to Europe. So Europe is way ahead in this particular race. Okay, so that is about this article, and we will be seeing the specific as the drafts become more clear. Okay, so we'll have a keep a track of this particular thing. Okay, in the future as well. So moving further. So in the West, fears of NATO withdrawal rises as Trump seeks return to the power. Hold on. So now we know that there are elections coming in various countries, even in Southeast countries like Indonesia, etc. There are elections coming in UK and then USA also. So now Mr. Trump is trying to come back to the power, and we know that at the time of Trump there was this protectionism, or inward looking policies of USA. We have seen he has started with the work visas, etc., and then he has gone with the withdrawing from the UNESCO, etc. So we have seen that USA has took a step back when we are talking about Trump's tenure. Okay, so now when Trump is trying to come back to the power, there are speculations that they might withdraw from the that global coalition, that is or you can say the coalition of the allies of USA, that is NATO. Okay, NATO was established way back before, or you can say after the World War II and before the Cold War era. That was to counter the socialist ideologies in that particular region. Okay, so we will not go into details of that, but right now what is in this article given that for 74 years the NATO has been America's most important military alliance, obviously. Okay, and it was used as a force multiplier because of NATO, USA has a small military presence or the bases in the Europe as well. Okay, now force multiplier, enhancing the influence of United States by uniting countries on both sides of Atlantic in war to defend one another. Okay, so it was some kind of collective defense, you can say. Okay, so now both sides of Atlantic, you can say USA and then Europe. Okay, so countries belonging to Europe are also part of this NATO organization, in which you can say mostly countries are USA's allies. There are few countries like Turkey, etc. They are being apprehensive of this particular organization now. So Donald Trump has made clear that he sees NATO as a drain of American resources by freeloaders. So basically they are saying that we are spending too much on NATO or the allies which are in NATO. So it is draining their wealth. Okay, so as I told you, he is taking a policy of protectionism. Okay, they are looking inward as the campaign he has run, that was the America First. Okay, so we know that he has this transactional nature of politics. So that is why we are having this speculations that he might withdraw from NATO as well. Okay, pulling back from Europe would save this countries millions of dollars annually. Okay, we have to finish the process we begin under my administration of fundamentally re-evaluating NATO's purpose and NATO's mission. So basically, he did not say that what kind of changes he wants, but he has indicated that he wants some kind of changes. But the kind of statement he has given, like pulling back from Europe would save countries millions of dollars. Thus, such statement indicates that he might withdraw from NATO. Okay, and he has done that from UNESCO, etc. So he might even do it from that as well. Trump's return could mean not just the abandonment of Ukraine, but a broader American retreat from the continent and getting of the Atlantic alliance. So basically, they are saying that they might withdraw. Other than that, Ukraine is getting quite an aid from this particular alliance like NATO. Ukraine is not part of NATO, but it is getting aid from it. Okay. There is a great fear in Europe that a second Trump presidency would result in actual pullout of the United States from NATO. Okay, so these are the speculation which has been made because of Trump running for the second term. Okay, so moving further, these are the NATO members. Okay, you can see both sides of Atlantic here, USA and Canada, and in this side most of the countries of the Europe, or you can say the Western Europe. Okay, because obviously Russian part is was in the socialist bloc, and as I told you, it was made to counter, or you can say made a hegemony of capitalism or the liberalism at that particular point of time. Okay, so they were against this socialist bloc. That is why they have made this particular alliance, and in return, Russia has, or USSR has made this Warsaw Pact. Okay. So this was on the similar lines of the NATO, okay, to counter the liberalism or the ideology of liberalism at that particular point of time. Okay, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, it was founded in 1949. These are the members. You can have a look at it. Okay, here you can say Ukraine is not a member. Okay, so remember that Ukraine is not a member. It is just getting an aid from USA, or you can say NATO allies. Okay, and then NATO constitutes 29 member states. Secretary General of the NATO is Jens Stoltenberg. Okay, so that is about NATO. Then from 3%, 3.7% of the GDP in financial year 16. So basically here we are talking about the climate financing, or the kind of expenditure we are spending on the adaptation related to climate actions. Okay, or climate change, you can say. India's current spend on adaptation to climate change is 5.6% of the GDP. It was 3.7% in 2016. Okay, 2019 emissions were 3.13 billion ton of CO2 equivalent, which is less than half of USA and less than 1/4 of the China. So when we are talking about the emissions, these countries USA and China are going are way ahead of us in terms of emissions. Okay, now India spent about 13.35 lakh crore in 2021-22, just over 5.5% of its GDP on climate adaptation. Okay, and they are saying that another about 57 lakh crore over the next 7 years they might spend on it. Okay, 57 lakh crore in the next 7 years span. But they are saying that if there is any kind of climate related activity, this particular amount may jump up to that 57 lakh plus 15 lakh crore. Okay, so you can say that this is a huge amount. Okay, then there is an uncertainty that there can be extreme events which can raise this particular amount as well. Okay, so here you can see that India's climate adaptation and expenditure and expectations. India spent 13.35 lakh crore in 2021-22 on the climate adaptation and anticipate an additional 57 lakh crore over 7 years. We have seen that this estimation could this estimation exclude potential increase cost due to the climate induced damages. Okay, so because of any kind of extreme event or the climate related event, if there are any kind of damage, we are not including that particular cost. That can go up to 15.5 lakh crore, that is in addition to 57 lakh crore. Okay, and then here you can see these are the emission, the increase in the India's annual GHG. You can say in 1994 it was 12,900 units of CO2 and then CO2 equivalent, and then this is now 2647 or you can say 2647. Okay, nearly it has doubled or you can say a little more than double. Okay. Adaptation effect and importance. Adaptation efforts aim to mitigate climate change impacts. So basically what we are doing is we are trying to mitigate the impacts which has happened. Okay, there are two things. One is to prevent the climate change and second is to adapt to it. Okay, to mitigate the impacts. Okay, just let's say there is a crop which is because of the extreme event or the drought, etc., that crop is going for the failure. But now you have come up with some kind of cross hybrid or some kind of hybrid seeds which are drought resistant. Okay, so what you would have done is you have adapted according to the climate. Okay, or you can say, so that is what is adaptation. Okay, and when we are trying to decrease your emissions, what we are doing is you are trying to prevent it. Okay, so these are two different factors. Now what are we doing? Including measures like sea wall constructions. Okay, for the coastal regions it is important because sea level is rising, so we are making some kind of walls so that some kind of safety net can be provided. Okay, then heat resistant crops. Okay, as I told you, there can be drought resistant, similarly there can be heat resistant because we know that there is increase in the temperature. Okay, and then there are heat waves which has been being common nowadays. Disaster resilient infrastructure. Okay, we have discussed it in the disaster management related article we have taken. Okay, so that is about that. Early warning system in placing, so that if there is some kind of calamity which is approaching, or you can say let's say tsunami or earthquake that are approaching, if we have this early warning system in place, we can protect people's life, their property, etc. Okay. Timely adaptation reduces economic losses from climate disasters, emphasizing the cost effectiveness of the protective measures. Okay, so if you are going for the adaptation in the within certain time, you can go for some kind of cost cutting. Okay, that you can simply say that that can be beneficial for human race or our citizens. Okay, then you can say India emitted 3.3 billion ton of CO2 in 2019, which is significantly lesser than USA and China. Okay, when we are talking about our emissions, most of them are from the energy sectors because of the fossil fuel obviously, and then from the agriculture. Okay, because you know that agriculture or the crops like rice. Okay, because of the sowing methods which are going for, okay, because of the water flooding we are going for, such activities release CH4, okay, that is methane, which is a greenhouse gas. Okay, so after energy, the agriculture sector is contributing more to the emissions. Then industry contribute. Then India submit its report like NETCOM, or you can say national commitments. Okay, nationally determined commitments on the international level as required by the Paris Agreement. Okay. Adaptation spending increased from 3.7% to 5.6% of the GDP, but still we are seeking financial support from the developed countries because obviously they are more responsible for climate change. Okay, so that is why all the countries of the global south or the developing countries are dependent on some kind of technological transfer, or you can say finances from the developing countries, developed countries. Okay. Now, statement in the COP28 emphasizes India's consistent climate actions and the need for the equitable climate finance for the developing nations. So India is becoming the voice of the global south, and they are demanding that developed countries should go for financing these climate related endeavors in the developing countries. Okay. Other than that, it also emphasizes on the consistent climate action which is taken by India. India is doing on that, doing good on this particular front. Okay. Moving further, now we will start with the today's newspaper. Okay, those were the important articles from the three last 2 days. Okay, in today's newspaper there are not much article because Israel we have covered. We have covered the this artificial intelligence related article in the EU. Okay, so now let's see. When we are talking about the CM, new CM in Chhattisgarh, the name comes up, that is Vishnu Dev Sai. Okay, he is a tribal leader. For your GK or your general knowledge, you can remember the name. Otherwise, this is not important for your UPSC point of view. Other than that, Article 370, 4 years after J&K's special status scrapped. Supreme Court verdicts today. So we will not take this article today, because ultimately there will be a verdict today, and then this article will repeat in tomorrow's newspaper. So that would be repetition, and we will not go into it as of now. Only thing is, Supreme Court will be deciding on the matter that when government has gone for the scrapping this particular article 370, was it constitutional or not? Okay, they have followed the guidelines of the amendment, etc., or not. That is what Supreme Court will decide in this particular judgment. We will have a look at this article tomorrow when judgment will be there, or any kind of guideline or whatever Supreme Court says will be in public domain. Okay. Now moving further, there are some articles from history and art and culture point of view. See, such they might not ask from your directly from your textbook nowadays, because there is uncertainty going on when we are talking about the setting of the paper. But now you have seen that there is an increasing trend that they are asking for the newspaper as well. Okay, and then they will relate it to your static part. Okay, so reading the textbook is as important as reading the newspaper. Okay, now here there is this Zafar Mahal. I will not go into the details of this particular thing. Okay, I will just tell you few facts about it. It was made by Akbar Shah. Okay, and his father was he was the father of Bahadur Shah. You must have heard this name Bahadur Shah Zafar. Okay, so it completed in the reign of Bahadur Shah Zafar, and Bahadur Shah Zafar basically decided that once he dies, he will be buried here. Okay, so that is why there is a empty tomb of Bahadur Shah here. So that is why this is also known as Zafar Mahal. Okay, recently there was some incident over there where zalis of this particular mahal was broken or ventilated by the anti-social elements of the society. Now here these jalis or the lattice, here you can say this particular things here, you can say the structure something like this, there would be a structure. Okay, these are called jalis. This is an intricate you can say important feature of Mughal architecture, that is jali or lattice. So you have to remember that. Okay, so that is about this particular article. Only thing is it is present in the Mehrauli area. As I told you, Mehrauli area, it is important now because they have been taking monuments from this particular area. Okay, so Zafar Mahal, 19th century structure, obviously because Bahadur Shah Zafar and Akbar Shah was in 19th century. Okay, here you can say it is empty grave of Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar, who had earlier marked the spot for his burial before he was exiled to Burma by the British Empire. Okay, so that is okay. He was exiled to Burma because of the 1857 revolution. Okay, or War of Independence. Consider the last monument structured by the Mughals. Obviously, because after Bahadur Shah Zafar, British took control of India. Okay, so that is why there was no Mughal power, you can say. So that was the last structure which has been made by the Mughals. Zafar Mahal was constructed in the late 19th century by Akbar Shah II. Okay, and then this Akbar Shah. Okay, Akbar Shah's successor Bahadur Shah II or Bahadur Shah Zafar built an imposing gate leading to the palace, following which the premises began to be called as Zafar Mahal. Okay, so other than that, there are some structures related to this particular in this particular area, that is Hathi Pol or Moti Masjid. Okay, so that is from this particular article. You can note down this much detail, that is important for you. That's all. Okay, you can say it is from the 19th century. Okay, moving further, then there was this second article, that is tomb of Ikram Khan. Okay, he was a craftsman. Most of the tombs etc. we study in the history are mostly related to some kind of king or some Sufi. Okay, but now here you can say this is a tomb of a craftsman. They can ask in the exam, this tomb of Ikram Shah was made in this particular area, which is right now in the Greater Noida. They can simply ask that that person, who was that person. Okay, most of the people will go for the elimination etc. If they don't know it, they might mark king or some kind of Sufi etc. But he was a craftsman. Other than that, there was this Nihalde temple here. Okay, she performed sati there was this legend which says that she was living in this particular area, and then there was a prince of Rajasthan. Okay, he came to this area and fell in love with this particular woman and then married her, and then that prince was exiled from the kingdom, and she was waiting for him. There is an important festival, that is Teej in Rajasthan. Okay, so she said that if husband doesn't come back to till this Teej, or you can say this festival, she will perform sati. So he couldn't come at the that particular time, and that is why she performed sati, and that is the temple here, Nihal De Sati temple. Okay, so these are in the proximity. Okay, so now here you can say Shahjahan era structure with link to the one of the greatest fort of Mughal era, the Red Fort in the Delhi. Okay, because here lies Ikram Khan, one of the men who was interested with the building of the Mammoth Red Stone Monument. So basically, when we are talking about the Red Fort, he was craftsman, one among the craftsmen of that particular fort, and that is why, and he has been given this, but maybe he has been given such status in the history, and there is the tomb of Ikram Khan. Okay, so that is about this particular article. If you want to go into the dwell into the history of this particular thing, you can read this article. This is an interesting article when we are talking about the story of this particular lady, Nihal De. Okay, so moving further, House panel recommends prayers, rituals at protected sites of religious significance. So basically, as of now, what happens is that you can perform any kind of religious activity to a monument if that monument was a living monument when ASI occupied it. Okay, living monument means that it was in the practice that there are some kind of ceremony is being performed at that particular place. Okay, so let's say, for example, if we consider Taj Mahal, when ASI occupied Taj Mahal, there was this namaz which is to be performed on the Friday in Taj Mahal area. So that practice still continues. Okay, because at that particular point of time that there was this particular practice in the public domain, and then that is why it is called the living monument. Okay, so as of now there is a rule that here you can see, according to ASI rules, prayers are allowed at the protected sites only if they were functioning place of worship at the time it took charge of them. Okay, so basically here they are saying that when ASI take charge of this particular monument in the past, if they were living monuments, they will be given this particular exemptions. They can the people can go and perform some kind of activities or religious activities over there, because there are many monuments which have religious significance. Now this particular thing was in news because recently at the Martand Sun temple, that is in Jammu and Kashmir, this particular fact can be important for your exam because UPSC has asked about it earlier as well. Okay, about the sun temples. Okay, so now this Martand Sun temple is in Jammu and Kashmir, and in that particular area certain people has performed some kind of religious activity. After that, the lieutenant governor of that particular area also become part of such activity. Okay, so this was a non-living monument at the time when ASI occupied it. So that was against the rule. That is what made this particular news into the newspaper. And now there is the parliamentary panel. That parliamentary panel has recommended the government to explore the possibility of permitting puja and worship at the monument protected by the ASI. They have said that if you allow that, the several historical monuments across the country holds immense religious significance to the large number of people, allowing puja, worship, certain religious activity at such monument can fulfill legitimate aspirations of the people. Okay, you can say the religious sentiment of the people can be respected if you allow it. Okay, now ASI say that the government says that we will look into it. Okay, Ministry of Culture will be involved here, and they have said that we will look into it. As of now, the rule is if the monument was living monument at the time of occupation by the ASI, that puja or any kind of religious activity can be performed over there. Now this panel has said one more thing, that you can allow such activity with one condition, that there is no detrimental effect on the health of the monument. Okay, so that is important here. Okay, so they did not go for any kind of blanket immunity for religious practices. They have said that if there is no detrimental effect on the monument, then you can allow such activities. Okay, so that is about this article. You have to have the knowledge of this particular rule, that ASI rules where only you can perform any kind of puja when there was a at the time of occupation by ASI, that monument was a living monument. There are certain example which has been given in this particular article as well. Let's say here you can say Taj Mahal, where namaz is held every Friday, that was a living monument at that particular point of time. 3 mosques in Kannauj, Roman Catholic Church in Meerut, Nila Mosque in Delhi, and the Buddhist monasteries in Ladakh. These are all the areas where religious practice is allowed, because these all were living monument at that particular point of time. Okay. And there are certain monuments where unauthorized worship has been taking place, like Lal Gumbad, Sultan Ghari's tomb, Firoz Shah Kotla in Delhi. So there are practices like that as well, but you can say that these are unauthorized. Okay. So that is about this particular article. When we are talking about this Martand Sun temple, here you can say that it was made in somewhere in 8th century, okay, by the Karkota dynasty. Okay, so this becomes important, Karkota dynasty. Okay, the king was Lalit Aditya Muktapida. Okay, Lalit Aditya Muktapida. So here you can say somewhere, yeah, here they have given the name. Okay, and after that in the 14th century, this particular temple was destroyed by the Sikandar Shah Miri. Okay, in the 14th century. Okay, so this is about this article. Now we can move further. Here this particular we have taken the Israel issue. Now USA, obviously, as I told you that USA has criticized it, then they have gone for the veto, and now the war activities are continuing in the southern part of Gaza as well. Initially Israel said that we will be limited to the North Gaza, and they have displaced the people, Palestinian civilian population, to the South Gaza strip, and now they are performing such activities in the South Gaza as well. Okay, here I have taken this map because now they have reached to the Khan Yunis. This part you can see, this is in the southern part. There is next is the Rafah, and there is this Rafah crossing. As I told you, that is the crossing between Gaza and the Egypt. Okay, so that is why I have taken this thing. Here you can say this is the area of the Gaza strip here. Okay, this is northern Gaza, and then Deir al Balah and Khan Yunis and Rafah. Okay, so they have reached in the Khan Yunis area, and because of such activities, there are health related services are collapsed in that particular region. People are stuck there. Okay, so that is about this article. There is not much in this article. You cannot on the one hand support the elimination of Hamas and other hand pressure us to end the war. This is what Israel is saying there. Israel is saying that the countries like Egyptian countries, etc., or the countries which are kind of critical of the October 7th attack, and now they are saying that go for the humanitarian truce. Israel is saying that you cannot support you cannot be critical of the Hamas, and now you can ask us to stop this war against Hamas. Okay, so but again here you can see that this war against Hamas has become a war against civilians as well. Okay, because earlier they said that they will go for the surgical strikes, okay, wherein they can identify the targeted area where Hamas are and then eliminate them. Okay, but now they are going blindly and performing blanket activities over there. Then China continues water cannon assault on our vessels Philippines. Okay, there in South China Sea, when we are talking about, there are some islands, there are disputed areas. Okay, in those disputed areas, now there is some kind of clash that happens. Chinese Coast Guard ship assaulted Philippines Navy supply boats in the disputed South China Sea. This has happened in the particular area named Second Thomas Shoal. Okay, okay, here you can say reef or shoal are almost similar things, but there are minor differences as well. Now this is the area of South China Sea. Here you can say this red line. Okay, this is known as cow's tongue. Okay, so this area, cow's tongue, is what China claims that it is belonging to their exclusive economic zones. Okay, now countries like Philippines, okay, and Malaysia, you can say Vietnam, all these countries are having problem with that, because that is interfering with their exclusive economic zones as well. Okay, so there are many islands which are disputed in this particular region. Mostly when we are talking about, there is Scarborough Shoal. Okay, then there is one is Scarborough Shoal, then Paracel Island, this is group of islands, then Spratly Islands. Okay, these are kind of contested between Philippines and other countries as well. Okay, recently whatever happened at the Second Thomas Shoal, that is part of Spratly Island, you can say somewhere here. Okay, I will show you. Here you can see these are the grouping of the Spratly Islands, and somewhere here is the second Thomas Shoal. Okay, so you have to remember these locations, that Paracel Islands, Spratly Islands. Okay, this second Thomas Shoal, all these things are kind of important for your exam point of view. Okay, moving further. What is Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Okay, I have taken, there is no much thing, they are talking about human rights only, but if you are making an answer or you are writing an answer, I would suggest that you can take these two articles from the article 1 and article 2 from this particular article. Okay, now this is your homework, you have to perform it by yourself, because there is nothing much to explain this article. They have mentioned that on the 9th December 10th they have gone for this particular charter, or you can say Universal Declaration on Human Rights. Okay, and then 75 years has happened, India is also part of it. So all these things are important, and now article 1 and 2 you can take out of it. Okay, other than that, there is this article which would be important for those people who has some kind of interest in the evolution and or science and tech. This article, there is nothing much to discuss. If you are interested, go and read this article, but I would only tell you that genes that boost fertility also shorten lifetime or life expectancy. Okay, so they have gone for some kind of study, and that study says that the genes which are responsible for their the fertility, okay, they are also responsible for shortening your life. Okay, they have studied the data, they have studied the UK's gene bank, etc., and after that they have come up with this particular idea. And here they have also seen that studying a tiny worm found mutations that gave it a long life while cutting down its number of offspring. Okay, so the worm gets the long life, but number of offspring is cutting down or decreases. And when we are talking about in humans as well, they are saying that whenever there is fertility and the expectancy comes down. Okay, here you can, somewhere they have mentioned that volunteers with large number of reproduction promoting variants has slightly lower odds of surviving age of 76. Okay, so that is, they have given some kind of relations between the age, you can say fertility and age. How this happened, they have not given the specifics, but they have given some small studies they have performed. If you are interested, you can have a look at it. Okay, so let's see the question which was given to you in the last episode. What is the primary purpose of mephtal, commonly used medicine? Okay, so here options are the treat bacterial infections. That was wrong, because we have seen that mephtal spas is generally used for the pain related activities or fever in child, etc. So that is why, to reduce fever and relieve mild to moderate pains. Okay, for your women are using this for their menstrual cramps, etc. Okay, so this particular medicine has been used, but the thing is it has side effects, and we have discussed one of them is breast syndrome. Okay, this particular side effect, actually you can say that it harms the internal organs. So that is about this particular question. Now moving further, which statement accurately describe the location of Rwanda? Rwanda is landlocked country in East Africa. You have to see that. It shares boundary with Uganda, Tanzania and the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is DRC. Okay, Lake Kivu forms part of Rwanda's western borders. Rwanda is situated in the Horn of Africa region. You have to choose correct statements. Now you can attempt this question. We have discussed it in the class. Now you attempt it and answer it in the comment box. Okay. Now moving to the question for your mains. Examine India's climate adaptation efforts and discuss the importance of international financial assistance in the fortifying India's adaptation strategies. Okay, so in the article which we have discussed, there were 3 to 4 initiatives which has been taken by India. Other than that, we have in the disaster management article, we have mentioned that there are some kind of activities related to mitigation, preparedness, early warning system. All these things you can actually include here, because obviously this climate adaptation is related to disaster management as well, because of the extreme events of the climate, there are disasters. Okay, so India is performing some they have taken some initiative in that front. You can mention those initiatives. Then they asked you to examine it. Okay, so you can give 1 or 2 line about is they are enough, or there is something more to do. Other than that, discuss the importance of international financial assistance in the fortifying India's adaptation strategies. Okay, so here you can tell about the our emissions, their emissions. We can compare. We can tell that there is a historical history of these emissions by the developed countries. That is why these financials are important. Okay. Other than that, you can also go for the India's efforts which they are making in the renewable energy related areas, and how countries like USA and all the developed countries can help us in that endeavor. Okay, like you can talk about International Solar Alliance, France partnership in that. All these things you can discuss in that. If you give 2 or 3 examples in this particular question, you will fetch 1 or 2 extra marks. Okay, so I would wrap up the session here. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.